Fiancée left me due to my cancer diagnosis. I left her destitute. The 4 years we were together had woven a tapestry of shared dreams and budding realities. Two seasoned professionals, both grounded in success, found solace and warmth in each other's arms. Our daughters, one in the cusp of womanhood, the other bright-eyed 11, formed an unexpected and endearing sisterhood, their laughter echoing through the combined haven of our neighboring home. Marriage, shared home, a blended family. These were not mere fancies, but blueprints painstakingly drawn, brick by agonizing brick. Her recent diagnosis, a neurological storm cloud gathering on the horizon, nudged us to accelerate the construction of an accessible life, a future built on mutual love and unwavering support. We envisioned a custom-crafted nest, not just aesthetically pleasing, but ADA compliant, a sanctuary for future days shadowed by limitations. That's when the hammer swung its first art. Not onto wood or stone, but upon the edifice of our trust. As blueprints morphed into architectural plans, I donned the mantle of the builder, not just metaphorically, but literally. Landscape transformed, walls shifted, my hammer and saw whispering promises of shared tomorrows. $30,000, a testament to my commitment, flowed from my construction business into the veins of her home. Each invoice a silent pledge I believe my heart had already signed, but then amidst the whirring of saws and the scent of fresh paint, my own body betrayed me. The symphony of my insides transformed into a cacophony of pain. Food, once a source of pleasure, became a weapon of rebellion, spewed back in a crimson tapestry of distress. My stomach, once a testament to countless crunches and burpees, ballooned under a shroud of fear. The gym, once a heaven of shared sweat and laughter, became a forbidden land, its treadmills mocking my growing weakness. Doctors became my new companions, their sterile pronouncements replacing the chirping of our daughter's laughter. Tests, an alphabet soup of acronyms, consumed my days, each unknown letter a potential harbinger of darkness. It was then, amidst the maelstrom of my own unraveling, that I noticed the tremors in her grip, the hesitations in her speech. The stress of her demanding career, a double-edged sword against her neurological foe, forced her to retreat, taking refuge in a demoted position and a $20,000 pay cut. The future, once a shimmering mirage on the horizon, began to shimmer in shades of gray. The houseplants, once held that against the sun, became limp paper flapping in the wind of uncertainty. My love, a beacon in the gathering storm, seemed to flicker, her own fears casting long shadows across our shared path. We stood then at a crossroads, the path ahead obscured by the dust of doubt and the fog of illness. My investment, both financial and emotional, hung heavy in the air, a silent question mark echoing through the now cavernous rooms of our future. The promise of shared laughter, the echo of children's song, were all but whispers on the wind, their fate inextricably intertwined with the mysteries etched within my own ailing body. This was not the happily ever after we had scripted, not the final chapter in our love story. This was a new verse, an agonizing rewrite, demanding courage I wasn't sure I possessed, and clarity that seemed forever out of reach. The diagnosis, when it arrived, landed with the crushing finality of a falling anvil. A month of tests, biopsies, and anxious waits culminated in a singular, brutal truth. A tumor nestled in my stomach like a malignant golf ball, demanding immediate surrender to the battlefield of chemotherapy and radiation. The treatments, as expected, waged their ruthless war, leaving me drained, nauseous, and clinging to the tattered remnants of my strength. She was there in those initial days, a steadying hand in the storm. Weekends found her in my kitchen, whipping up nourishing meals and conjuring laughter amidst the haze of my fatigue. Nights bled into mornings, her presence a silent comfort in the sterile embrace of my bed. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the boundaries blurred. My home, once a solitary refuge, became ours, an island of shared anxieties and fragile hopes. Her own house, across the street, became a phantom, its windows dark and silent except for the occasional flicker of her daughter's silhouette. Then, one sun-bleached afternoon, amidst the sterile hisses of oxygen machines and the crinkling of pill packets, I dared to dream. It was a whisper, an almost audible hum. Why not sell one of the houses, merge our lives further, find solace in the bricks and mortar of a shared future? My illness, a perverse catalyst, had pushed us closer than ever, forging a vulnerability that demanded intimacy. My insurance, a silver lining woven into the dark tapestry of my disease, promised financial stability, a cushion against the uncertainty. We could build our dream house together, later, a testament to our love surviving the wreckage of my health. But when I voiced this fragile hope, The response was an echoing silence. The warmth in her eyes seemed to dim, replaced by a flicker of something distant, unreadable. Weekends, once graced by her presence, became solitary affairs punctuated only by the mournful chimes of my loneliness. Her daughter, once a fixture in our shared laughter, became a ghost, her visits dwindling to polite phone calls and hurried goodbyes. The car rides to treatment, a necessity born of my weakness, began to disappear, replaced by terse apologies and whispered evasions. The house, which I had envisioned as a crucible of shared resilience, now echoed with the deafening clang of her absence. Her silence, heavier than any unspoken word, hung like a thick fog, obscuring the future we had so meticulously drawn. Had my illness, the very thing that had pulled us closer, unwittingly pushed her away. Was our love, so resilient in the face of external storms, crumbling under the weight of my internal one? I stood then at a crossroads, the familiar ground beneath my feet dissolving into quicksand. My illness, a monstrous presence on the inside, was mirrored by the gaping chasm of her withdrawal. The financial security I offered, once a bridge of hope, now felt like a gilded cage, its bars forged from her unspoken fear. The dream house, a beacon of shared tomorrows, now loomed ominously, a monument to a future teetering on the precipice of uncertainty. This was not the happily ever after we had scripted, not the final act in our love story. This was a new chapter, penned in the blood of betrayal and the ink of doubt. And as I navigated the treacherous terrain of my own recovery, I found myself confronting a different battle, one fought not with chemo and radiation, but with the fading echoes of a love seemingly lost in the labyrinth of my own illness. She then dropped a bomb, the sentence that will forever be burned into my psyche. I love you, but I can't see myself taking care of someone this sick in the long term, and I don't think we should see each other any longer. It broke me. I won't lie. This was the first woman I had ever opened up to and planned a life with since my wife died when my children were 1 and 3. However, I tried to be mature about it. I forced myself to understand her position and to accept what I could not change. I calmly, the next day, gathered all of her things, packed them neatly, loaded them in my truck, and took them to her house to leave on the back porch while she was at work in order to avoid any awkward exchanges. Walking around the back and under the porch cover, I sat down a box and saw her in her back living room on the couch having sex with a man that she had introduced to me as a lifelong friend. I had dinner and drinks with this man and his girlfriend. We had gone on vacation with them as well. I never spoke of the incident with her and simply sent her a text later explaining that I would leave her things on my side porch to pick up at her convenience. 8 months had bled into 9, the paint on the walls of our shared dream home now a taunting mockery of promises broken, his ex's words dripping with a bitter cocktail of sorrow and contempt were the pickaxe that finally cracked the facade, revealing the rot within. Infidelity, festering like a tumor, had poisoned our foundation, leaving me gasping for air in the ruins of trust. Revenge, a seductive serpent, coiled in my gut. But I wouldn't stoop to his level, wallowing in the mud of petty retribution. No, my response would be a scalpel wielded with cold precision, a meticulous dance through the very system he'd so often manipulated. My health, thankfully, was on mend, the scars of chemo and radiation mere whispers on my skin. Their absence left a space for a steely resolve, a newfound strength that pulsed through my veins as I delved into the neglected chaos of paperwork. Then, nestled among dusty receipts and forgotten tax forms, I found my weapon. A file bulging with incriminating invoices, $32,680 of silent accusations stacked like dominoes ready to topple. Each invoice, a crumpled testament to his arrogance and her misplaced trust, became my ammunition. My lawyer, a formidable knight sworn to the code of justice, received these damning documents with a grim nod. The siege had begun. Lions, like icy chains, were forged around the once gleaming dream home. The cracks in its veneer, expertly plastered with charm and promises, widened under the pressure of legal scrutiny. Her escape route, the planned sale of the house, choked shut by the tightening web of financial obligation. Interest, a ravenous beast, had fattened the debt to a sum even his silver tongue couldn't sweeten away. The settlement agreement, a final twist of the knife, and the lawyer's fees, predators circling their prey, devoured the remaining scraps of her fantasy. $10,000, the pitiful gleanings of a shattered dream, was all that remained. The gilded cage they'd built, shimmering with stolen sunlight, shattered around them, the ornate bars replaced by the cold steel of eviction. The other house, a testament to ambition built on quicksand, became a mirage receding into the distance. Her professional facade, meticulously crafted and maintained, crumbled like dry leaves replaced by the stark reality of disability payments and shared living with family. My revenge, however, wasn't about inflicting fresh wounds. It was about peeling back the scabs, exposing the festering infection beneath. The cracks so carefully hidden in the shadows were now floodlit, their ugliness lay bare for all to see. Their world, a house of cards built on deception and exploitation, lay in ruins, a cautionary tale whispered on the wind. For me, the flames of betrayal had become a crucible. The naivety I shed, like a chrysalis slowing off its past, revealed a heart tempered with steel and wisdom. The dream home, now a hollow echo of shattered hopes, stood as a monument to the lessons learned, a chilling reminder of the dangers of misplaced trust. But my gaze was not fixed on the wreckage of the past. My eyes, clear and steady, were focused on the horizon, where the canvas of my future stretched, vast and limitless, waiting to be painted with the vibrant hues of resilience and self-worth. The battle for justice was won, but the ongoing fight against deceit and betrayal continued. And I, armed with the truth and the fire-forged strength in my heart, was ready to stand on the front lines, a testament to the enduring power of resilience and the cleansing flame of righteous anger. Over a year had carved its passage since our paths last crossed, and the time etched its mark upon her with cruel precision. It wasn't age etched on her face, but a weariness, a dimming of the light that once sparked joy in her eyes. Even the familiar curve of her smile seemed dimmed, shadowed by the ghost of regret. She sat not in the vibrancy of a coffee shop, but confined to the metal embrace of a wheelchair, the one we'd once joked about as a whimsical future gadget. Cordial words hung heavy between us, a fragile bridge over the chasm of memories. The conversation, like a butterfly with bruised wings, fluttered briefly before I politely excused myself, the weight of what had been and what could have been pressing down on my chest. Days later, a voice from the past pierced the tranquility of my routine. Her daughter, younger and seemingly untouched by the passage of time, spoke of that chance encounter, her eagerness a bridge between two shores I wasn't sure I wanted to revisit. My response, vague and laced with a reluctance I couldn't quite suppress, echoed back as a silent wall between us. Then, the phone sang a familiar tune, her voice weaving a tapestry of apologies, words spun from the loom of regret. Each syllable was a filament of the past, igniting embers I thought long extinguished. But the fire crackled with a hollow warmth, unable to melt the glacier of distance that had grown between us. Cordial exchanges like offerings to a forgotten altar couldn't bridge the canyon carved by her choice. Text messages, once the lifeblood of our connection, became specters haunting the twilight of our past. Until one fateful night, she dared ask the forbidden question. A phoenix rising from the ashes of our ashes, seeking its lost wing. Could we rekindle what had been? The words, tinged with desperation, reverberated like a tremor, shaking the fragile edifice of my carefully constructed indifference. In my mind, a single image flared brighter than all the memories. A cardboard box forgotten on my back porch, a silent testament to the life we built and then so abruptly abandoned. Taking care of someone so sick. I echoed the words, tasting sour on my tongue. Remember that box? Did you think a friend brought it over? A piece of my life you couldn't stomach when the going got tough? With each sentence, the dam holding back the tide of hurt broke. Years of unspoken truth spilled forth, not in anger, but in a quiet, sorrowful resignation. It wasn't a scream, but a whisper that cut deeper than any yell. Good luck to you, I sighed, the words heavy with finality. Goodbye. Hanging up the phone wasn't a rejection, it was a closing of a chapter. Not with bitterness, but with a melancholic acceptance of the past's permanence. The box, a symbol of what we were and what we couldn't be, stood as a reminder. Closure sometimes comes not with fireworks, but with the extinguishing of a dying ember. And in the ashes of that extinguished hope, a new resolve bloomed. The future, once intertwined with her shadow, stretched before me as a blank canvas, ready to be painted with the vibrant hues of self-reliance and acceptance. The wound, though tender, would heal not with someone else's care, but with the balm of time and self-love. For in the quiet strength of letting go, I discovered the true meaning of moving on. It wasn't about forgetting, but about carrying the lessons learned, like scars, each one a testament to the journey, not the destination. And with each step forward, the shadow of the past faded, replaced by the dawning light of a future waiting to be embraced.